We are here with one of the owners of 1923, Aaron, who's joining us for a few questions about the restaurant. Can you tell us about what inspired you to start 1923?
Yes, my wife and I, we're the owners. We both have been in the industry for 20 plus years. There's not a lot of places that you know for sure are 100% gluten-free and are safe, and we are that. And it doesn't take away from our flavor or anything. If we didn't tell you, you'd never know. But you are safe here, and that's a big deal for the Ann Arbor community and just in general.
What actually inspired you to start out of a London bus?
Well, it's funny because my mom actually saw one in North Carolina. There's probably about 10 in the United States that have been converted. Most of them are coffee shops. So the one that's in North Carolina is in Asheville. Ironically, that's where my wife and I got engaged. But she saw that and she called me. She's like, "Oh, this is so cute. You gotta see this," and sent me the pictures. And my wife and I showed her the pictures, and we're looking. I'm like, "Well, stop somebody from putting a full picture." And we contacted some people, and they're like, "Nothing." So there's the idea, and then it was just finding one, which was actually one of the more difficult parts. Getting it here, we had it shipped from Liverpool, and then the driver canceled in New Jersey, and they couldn't get another driver for 3 weeks. We had already reserved the pole barn where it was being worked on, so that was already being paid for, so we didn't have that time, and it would have pushed back our opening date. So we flew out the next day and drove it back ourselves for 23 hours. And on the right-hand side of the vehicle, it was terrifying, but it was a good bonding experience for us and with the bus. Like it makes it feel like it's more yours. If somebody just dropped it door to door, and then this guy just turns it into a food truck and then gives you the keys, it's like, hey, there's not as much attachment. It's like, I drove this thing, I know how to move it, I know how it works, I know the noises it makes, you know, I know what it looked like before it had things in it, like everything. It's like a child.
More personal, right? So, can you tell us about what inspired the vast menu that you have?
Yeah, it's actually, my wife and I are both have diverse palates. She was born in Indonesia, so naturally her whole base is Asian cuisine. She moved to Oregon when she was about to go into double digits, I believe. So she grew up in the States as well, but had that as a base. I am from Ann Arbor. I went to Huron Community, Washington, but I lived in New York for about 6 years, and that taught me a lot. New York is like the food capital. I was in the industry there, and I learned a lot, and it opened my palate and expanded my palate, and that's where my love for food was birthed, and I already was in the industry. So I think that's where a lot of the diversity of the menu comes from. We eat so many different things. We love Thai food, we love everything, Indian food, we eat everything. So we naturally, when we thought about the things that we enjoyed and that we wanted to put on the menu, it was all over the place. So it was like, how can we bring all of this together? So we started to think about the taco just exactly the same way as the bus. Like, the bus is just the shell, and you can put anything you want inside of it, whether that be a kitchen or seating. So we did that, and then the same idea with the taco. It's just the shell, and we don't have to stick to any rules of the status quo of what a taco is. Like, we can do whatever we want inside of it as long as it's good.
For sure.
So that was the idea.
So what initially got you into the industry?
I was in a band. I was in a band, and food service industry was the only industry that allowed you to take time off, have someone cover your shift, do things of that nature. So I needed the autonomy and the flexibility. So I started working when I was, my first job I was 14. I was at fast food places, but then from there when I was 18, I opened up the Applebee's that's on Carpenter Road. And I was a part of that, like not as a manager, but I was just a part of the staff. So I got to see a restaurant from ultimately like its origin, like in its conception. You know, it's corporate, but nonetheless to see like the glasses be delivered and to see how they set up the bar and to see everything from scratch was eye-opening and addictive. Like I was like, wow, this is kind of cool, you know. And I went on from there to write training manuals and do things like that and shoot training videos. So I started seeing the back end of things and finding ways with my performance background of utilizing it within the food service. So I love that. And naturally serving was like that too. Like I had a manager in New York and he told me that when we're out on the floor, it's the stage. And you're putting on a show and it's a performance and you put forth your best foot and you put forth your best self. And that just clicked for me. Because you know, I like acting and performing and singing and things like that. So I was like, oh, the stage, huh? So it like that changed my perception, and I think that really propelled me into the industry even more.
So between the optimization and the performance, what would you say is your favorite part of running 1923?
I do like the autonomy because with a lot of the places that I work for, the great places in Ann Arbor, you know, like some big places, some of the biggest places in Ann Arbor, you get to a certain point where you hit a ceiling as a manager, and that can be a good thing because everybody, as an owner, it's yours. And they have the absolute right to want what they want and have their vision be executed the way that they want it. So I have my own vision, and I DJ on the side and stuff, so I want my playlist. I know I've watched the reactions of people and I knew how to create an ambiance, and sometimes it gets frustrating as a manager when that can be taken from you. You know, when you're building something and you have a vision too and you're not allowed to execute your vision in its entirety. So I wanted that autonomy because I knew that I could create something that the guests would enjoy, but in addition that the employees would enjoy. Because everywhere I manage, I had the lowest turnover rate that place has ever had. So I retained staff, so people like working with me. So I knew I could do that again, and I was like, if it's mine, if it's ours, my wife and I, then we can control everything, the things that we want to, you know. So that's what I enjoy the most, is just being able to make something completely your own and be proud of everything that happens. Like I hand select every song that's played with this. Like we picked all the food, my wife did all the recipes, I named all the tacos, you know, we did all of it. I did the whole POS system interface, we did everything. Like the interior design in here, my wife did all of it. We painted the walls, we did everything.
Like for design too?
Yeah, yeah, all of it. Like she created these little, this is like her idea. Like they do them already, like DIY, like lights in them. Like she created the moss in them and did her own thing and put her own spin on it. And that's what we like to do.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Do you have a message to other entrepreneurs out there trying to start a small business?
Yes, I would say if you have a teammate, they will be crucial. Appreciate, and if you do have a teammate, appreciate their strengths and weaknesses, because it's just like a relationship. Some of the things that you love about a person can be the things that drive you crazy about a person, but you have to take the good with the bad. Like a great example of someone who's extremely meticulous and organized. At times that could probably annoy you, but there will be more times than not where that skill will be valuable. So that's a good thing, you know? So I'd say that, and I'd also say that within the first year, the unexpected will guarantee happen and will happen multiple times. So just be ready for the unexpected, because life is life and it will happen. There's going to be a lot of downfalls, but if you keep going, you can make it. It's just, there's times where it feels demoralizing, you know, but you have to just keep going and remember your vision and just stick to the script.
For sure. On that note, were there any challenges that you faced when recently moving to the new venue?
Yes, I think most of the challenges that we face, we were more prepared moving here after being in business for 7 months than we were when we initially opened up, which is kind of logical, you know, as a new place. Like, there are certain things you can't practice or that you can't prepare for. So we just had to let those mistakes or kinks come naturally. So we have worked a lot of them out as we moved to this location, but it comes with its own unique set of challenges. Like, we had to get connected to the house, we have to get, acclimated to the neighborhood. You know, the clientele is completely different. You know, there's people in our past location, there were families, they lived in the area. There's much more of a laid-back feel. We're kind of in a hub of work, school, and everything right here, so it's a little bit more, they want things a little bit faster because they might be on a break. When before, these people are just on their way home. I'm just walking my dog, so I have all the time in the world. These people gotta get back to class, or they gotta get back from their break, so it's understood. So I think that's a little different, but we haven't faced too many challenges here. Like, we faced the most challenges originally with, you know, having no indoor dining in the winter time. You know, here it's been pretty smooth thus far, but I'm sure we'll see something.
Alright. And then is there anything in particular that you hope people take away from their experience after visiting 1923?
I think what our overall one is, as I said, I'm an Ann Arbor guy, I grew up here. And I just think that Ann Arbor is not like a lot of places in the United States, and it's its own unique thing. And if you know, you know, and it's a magic to it here. And I just wanted, my wife and I wanted to create another staple for Ann Arbor to take claim to. Like, we have the Fleetwood, we have a lot of cool things that are completely unique here that you wouldn't have even thought about until you saw it done there. And I just want 1923 to be that. I want, when people say, have you visited Ann Arbor, Michigan, I want this to be one of the places that they think about. So we're working towards that. We're gonna do this front lawn, put a patio set up out there. We're working on a liquor license in the fall so we can tailgate for these games and just become even more woven into the community.
Speaking of being woven into the community, was there anything that inspired the new art gallery?
Yes, actually, one of our regulars, her name is Julianne Sunstein. Her and I were talking before we moved to this location about exactly what me and you are talking about now, because she's Ann Arbor, right? And we were just talking about arts and what Ann Arbor was and how the art fair used to be in Carytown. And she shared that she was an artist, and then we both talked about the fact that we had this indoor space and how we would love to do some rotating art in there. And she jumped on the opportunity. I don't even know, it might even have been her idea. We just were both like, it was a synergy where we were just on the same page. And so she has, most of the art in there is predominantly hers. We have Katie Hammond. There was just a great piece written about her in MLI. It's wonderful. So Katie Hammond and Julianne Sunstein. That's where all of our art pieces are from currently that are in that gallery room. So I advise you to Google them, check them out, and keep supporting this, and come check out the artwork in person and see what we rotate, and your art could be next.
Thank you very much. It's been a great interview.
Thank you.
I learned